Good morning, everyone. I, Asha Singh, faculty member of Sarans Public School, is going to conduct in-house training. Topic of my training is library, an asset for research and learning. Library is an asset in the development of learning spaces. It is a place that can be transformed for different types of learning, individual, peer, and collaborative learning. The Learning Commons is an example of a computer environment. However, the next generation of learning spaces is going to be designed for peer learning and individual computing space. There are examples of how the learning environment is changing. The flipped classroom is a pedagogical model in which the typical classroom, lecture, and homework center are reversed. The flipped classroom draws on such concepts as active learning, student engagement, hybrid course design, and course podcasting. The value of a flipped classroom is in the way a class space is transformed. It allows for a workshop setup where students can work collaboratively, inquire about lecture content, test their skills in applying knowledge, and interact with one another in hands-on activities. The flipped classroom is designed to support new types of functionality. It allows faculty and students to adjust their environment for peer and group learning. The model has the potential to shift learning styles from covering material to collaborating and mastering it. Flipped classroom environments are in libraries too. We design spaces to support new learning styles. Furniture examples by Staples illustrate how a flipped classroom can be implemented in an educational environment. The libraries provide research materials for students and staff of these organizations and who use and can also publish and carry literature produced by these institutions and make them available to others. School libraries in Aotearoa, New Zealand survey read reports from an ongoing service of National Service about school libraries in Aotearoa, New Zealand. The surveys are a collaboration between National Library of New Zealand Services to schools, the School Library Association of New Zealand, Aotearoa, and the Library and Information Association of New Zealand, Aotearoa. The survey series started in 2018. Education Counts, NCEA fact sheet, and the latest reports on information skills, reading, and mathematical and scientific from Progress in International Reading Literacy Study, that is PIRLS, Program for International Student Assessment, that is PISA, National Education Monitoring Project, National Monitoring Study of Student Achievement, and Trends in International Mathematics and Science Study. Primary Award recipient 2014 Bruce Jerry, Linking Library with Learning, a study of how library can be developed into a multimedia learning hub in order to further facilitate student research. Jeffrey Bruce reports focuses on effective links between classroom program and library usage in New Zealand and Australia schools, including the use of multimedia and the school library staffing. New Zealand Library Technology readers Susan Clifton's Masters of Information Studies thesis focuses on views of New Zealand secondary school libraries around their role as technology leaders and what helps or hinders their position as technology managers. These reports can help you to set up with a development in library practice, learning approaches, and digital technologies. Core education predicts how digital technologies will influence and impact on early childhood, school and tertiary education. In 2016, International Federation of Library Association and Institution report aims to map and predict both societal changes such as access to information, education, privacy, new forms of digital engagement and technological transformation. Commissioned by the Library Information Advisory Commission and developed by Lianza, this report identifies the impact libraries, including school libraries, have on individual communities and New Zealand society as a whole. It includes challenges facing the library sector and describes the potential extension of a national approach to overcome these challenges. The American Library Association promotes the value of school libraries and librarians drawing on US research studies. That Scholastics 2016 update of this compendium of research draws on research studies at national and state level that show school libraries support student academic achievement. This infographic from the American Association of School Libraries compiles key points and quotations from many sources about the links between student achievement and school libraries. The school library is a central hub supporting every student and staff member as well as parents and learning. The library combines several elements: library staff, resources, and space. Each of these plays an important part in supporting teaching and learning. School libraries are most effective when these elements combine to form an integrated whole. An effective school library improves students' outcomes. Collections developed for your unique school, community, and rich reading and learning programs. Welcomes people in. The library is a safe place that values and includes students from different cultures and backgrounds. Brings people and information together. Connections with other libraries and information sources enhance your library's collection and help your library staff help users find what they need. Embodies the principles of learner agency, students having the independence to choose their own reading and to find resources that help them develop their interest and strengths at their own space. Helps close the education gap for students who might otherwise be disadvantaged. The library can provide access to the stories, information, and technology they need. The purpose of the school library 2002 guidelines. In 2002, the National Library and the Ministry of Education developed guidelines to help principals, teachers, boards of trustees, and library teams support students' learning by developing their school libraries. There have been significant development in school libraries since then, but many schools still find these guidelines useful. The school library and learning in the information landscape, guidelines for New Zealand School, Ministry of Education and National Library of New Zealand 2002. School libraries make a difference. The research shows clear links from the school libraries and library staff to improvements in students' reading and academic success. School libraries are fundamental to developing engaged readers who have the capability and inclination to read and learn beyond their years at school. School libraries help students learn to find and use the information they need to succeed now and in their future life and work. School libraries matter together with reading engagement and digital literacy. We view our three priorities: reading engagement, school libraries and digital literacy as interdependent and equally important in supporting students' learning and literacy. The school library and staff play a critical role in helping to create a school culture that supports and encourages reading for pleasure and digitally literate students. Digital literacy, in turn, needs proficient and engaged readers. What is reading for pleasure? The National Library Trust UK defines reading for pleasure, also referred to as independent, leisure or recreational reading, as reading we do of our own free will, anticipating the satisfaction we will get from the act of reading. They add that it's also reading that we have begun at someone else's request, which we can continue because we are interested in it. Christina Clark and Kat Rumbold note that reading for pleasure can be described as an act of play which allows us to experience different worlds in our imagination and a creative and active interactive process. A number of New Zealand and overseas studies into students' reading loss over the long summer break have shown the loss can be significant. Impact on student academic achievement. Weeks, if we not a term or more, are spent helping students catch up to their reading levels from the previous year. In one New Zealand study, some students in a South Auckland declared one school lost 5.8 months reading process or progress over the summer holidays. The consequences are culminating and long-lasting, often having a powerful influence on reading scores throughout secondary school and beyond. A Baltimore study showed 65% of the reading achievement gap between ninth grades of low and high socioeconomic standing could be traced to what they learned or failed to learn over their childhood summers. The summer slide in reading levels can be seen in other curriculum areas such as mathematics and on levels of confidence generally. It's harder to close the gap once it has opened, especially for struggling readers, so the earlier the intervention, the better. This Horizons national video with NBC's Brian Williams illustrate the impact of the summer slide, and although based on US research is relevant to New Zealand. Characteristics of a student often is students who can least afford to lose their year's reading gains that fall the furthest behind, such as struggling readers who lose momentum reading habits and confidence. For example, students and families who have participated in the Reading Together program or been through reading recovery. Students in priority learner groups identified by the Education Review Office August 2012 as historically not experiencing success in the New Zealand schooling system. Low decline Pakistan and ISOL students and students with specific learning needs. Low income children fall further behind than their classmates. Studies in the United States have found that middle income students tend to lose 1 month of reading achievement, while lower income students generally lose about 2 months of reading achievement. The loss is less pronounced or absent in students who have access to books and holidays learning experiences such as travel, museum visit, or other similar experiences. How do libraries support teaching and learning? A library is fundamentally an organized set of resources which include human services as well as the entire spectrum of media. Libraries have physical components such as space, equipment, and storage media, intellectual components such as collection policies that determine what material will include, and organizational schemes that determine how the collection is assessed. And people who manage the physical and intellectual components and interact with users to solve information problems. Libraries serve at least three roles in learning. First, they serve a practical role in sharing expensive resources, physical resources such as books and periodicals, films and videos, software and electronic database, and specialized tools such as projectors, graphics equipment, and cameras are shared by the community of users. Human resources librarians also support instructional programs by responding to the request of teachers and students and by initiating activities for teachers and students. Approaching responsive services include maintaining reserved materials, answering reference questions, providing bibliographic instruction, developing media packages, recommending books or films, and teaching users how to use materials. Services include selective dissemination of information to faculty and students, initiating themselves events, collaborating with instructors to plan instruction, and introducing new instructional methods and tools. In these ways, libraries serve to allow instruction and students to share expensive materials and expertise. Second, libraries serve a cultural role in preserving and organizing artifacts and ideas. Great works of literature, art, and science must be preserved and made accessible to future learners. Although libraries have traditionally been viewed as facilities for printed artifacts, primary and secondary school libraries often also serve as museums and laboratories. Libraries preserve objects through careful storage produces policies of borrowing and use and repair the maintenance as needed. In addition to preservation, libraries ensure access to materials through index, catalogs, and other findings aids that allow learners to locate items appropriate to their needs. Third, libraries serve social and intellectual roles in bringing together people and ideas. This is indexed from the practical role of sharing resources in that libraries provide a physical place for teachers and learners to meet outside the structure of the classroom, thus allowing people with different perspectives to interact in a knowledge space that is both larger and more general than the other shared by any single discipline or affinity group. Browsing a catalog in a library provides a global view for people engaged in specialized study and offers opportunities for spectrum insights of alternative views. In many respects, libraries serve as center of interdisciplinary places shared by learners from all disciplines. Digital libraries extend such interdisciplinary by making diverse information resources available beyond the physical space shared by groups of learners. One of the greatest benefits of digital libraries is bringing together people with formal, informal, and professional learning missions. Formal learning is systematic and guided by instruction. Formal learning takes place in courses offered at schools of various kinds and in training courses or programs. The important roles that libraries serve in formal learning are illustrated by their physical prominence on university campuses and the number of courses that make direct use of library services and materials. Most of the information resources in schools are tied outside this mission have in the past have to travel to other libraries by making the broad range of information resources discussed below available to students and teachers in schools. Digital libraries open new learning opportunities for global rather than strictly local communities. Much learning in life is informal opportunities and strictly under the control of the learner. Learners take advantage of other people, mass media, and the immediate environment during informal learning. The public library system that developed in the US in the late 19th century has been called the Free University since public libraries were created to provide free access to the world's knowledge. Public libraries provide classic notification books, a wide range of periodicals, reference sources, and audio and video tapes so that patrons can learn about topics of their own choosing at their own pace and style. Just as computing technology and worldwide telecommunication network are beginning to change what a possible informal classroom, they are changing how individuals pursue personal learning mission. Professional learning refers to the ongoing learning adults engage in to do their work and to improve their work-related knowledge and skills. In fact, for many professionals, learning is the central aspect of their work. Like informal learning, it is mainly self-directed, but unlike formal or informal learning, it is focused on a specific field closely linked to job performance, aims to be comprehensive, and is acquired and applied longitudinally. Since professional learning affects job performance, cooperation, and government agency support, libraries with information resources specific to the goals of the organization. The main information resources for professional learning, however, as personal collections of books, reports and files, subscriptions to journals, and the human network of colleagues nurtured through professional meetings and various communications. Many of the data sets and computational tools of digital libraries were originally developed to enhance professional learning. The card catalog. A card catalog is a small card that enlists a book by its name, by the author name or by the subject. Libraries usually have all the three types of catalogs for each book. The most commonly used method to search a book is though through the use of author catalog or book name catalog. The periodicals, the series literature in the library are called as periodicals. Periodicals includes journals, magazines and newspapers. Periodicals provide fast and current information for any research. Periodicals are thus highly valuable for research. Today, most of the periodicals are available online as well as in the libraries. Usually, students use their resources while staying in the library. Some materials can be borrowed after special request to the librarian. Current issues are usually displayed on the racks on the front while old issues are arranged somewhere on the back in cells or in the skating areas. After going through the essays, we will understand the advantage of a library and role that it plays in the overall mental, educational development of an individual as well as community. Library is a storehouse of books. It also provides various other sources of information for reading in its premises as well as borrowing for home. The collection of library can include books, manuscripts, magazines, periodicals, videos, audios, DVDs, and the various other formats. Wide range of books are stored in a library and well organized in bookshelves. It is not possible for an individual to have such a wide collection of books at a home. One can get access to diverse genres of books and other resources in library. It serves the need to buy expensive books and resources. If there were no librarian, many students who love to read would have been deprived of reading, mostly due to financial difficulties. Library is an important part of every educational institution, such as schools, colleges, and universities. Such a library is open for students of the particular institute it forms a part of. Therefore, it contains a wide range of resources vital for the students. Libraries attract people to read and develop habits of reading and learning. It increases their thirst for reading and expands knowledge. Library is also essential for any kind of research on different subjects. Thus, libraries are important for research, information, knowledge, and pleasure of reading. Libraries provide perfect environment to enjoy, read peacefully. Library is a place where there is huge collection of books and various other resources that are made accessible for reading and reference purpose. People of every age group can find resources such as books, magazines, periodicals, audios, videos, and materials in other formats as per their reading interest and tastes. Library provide access to various books, materials, resources, and digital media for research, information, and knowledge. Libraries also provide services such as assistance in finding books of one's interest, which can be done with the help of librarians. Besides, they provide space and environment to facilitate individual or group studies and collaboration. Libraries are extending their services by providing access to digital means and services by librarians in navigating and assisting with various resources of information. Libraries are becoming a center where people can engage in learning, enjoy reading, and explore their interest in different subjects. Some argue that there is technology to read online and do research, so what is the need to visit library? Yet libraries have been served the communities since centuries by providing original and quality resources. People who have the habit of visiting and using libraries understand the value and importance of libraries. In addition to it, there are people who love reading
but cannot afford to buy many books and resources. They can get easy access to valuable resource in libraries. School library is the library within the school where students, teachers, and other staff members have access to books and other resources. Therefore, the purpose of school library is to ensure equitable access to books, resources, and information technology to all the members of the school. Overall, the history libraries have played essential role in imparting knowledge. They develop social, educational, and cultural growth of the students. School libraries are different from other public and private libraries as they mainly support and extend school curriculum. School libraries support students' learning and have positive impact on students' academic achievement. Teachers and students need library resources and services for knowledge and success. School library supports both teachers and students and is vital for teaching and learning process. Benefits of school library for students. School library supports students by providing various study materials and encouraging them to read. School library is an important source of knowledge for the student. Reading frequently in libraries improves vocabulary and develops reading and writing skills of the students. Students get access to wide range of books and resources essential for reference, knowledge, learning and entertainment. Therefore, they can choose from diverse books as per their own interest and learning purpose. School libraries encourage students for develop interdependent learning and help them explore their interest. Libraries are essential for the educational and personal development of the students. It impacts positively on the academic performance and achievements of the students. Besides assisting teachers in research and supporting the students in their studies, libraries help in developing reading habits and provide information and knowledge to enrich learning experience. Libraries encourage fiction, reading that helps students development habit of reading for pleasure and enhance students' intellectual, cultural, artistic and emotional growth. Library is an appropriate place for the students to study and research without any disturbance. It also provides the perfect environment for students to read for pleasure. Reading is important for the overall growth and mental development of the student. Books can be borrowed for further reading to get in-depth knowledge on subjects of interest or simply to enjoy reading. There are general knowledge books that students can read to develop their mind. Reading is a good habit that boosts confidence in the students. Students can take reference from the books and resources to complete their school projects and assignments. They can refer books to make notes for learning and to prepare for exams also. The purpose of school libraries is to support students in learning process, not only students, but libraries also facilitate teachers with access to relevant sources and information for reference and research. Library staff collaborates with teachers to plan, implement, and evaluate study programs that will ensure students acquire necessary skills to complete and progress in this fast-paced world. Libraries are important part of every educational institution as they provide the right support to students and teachers. However, education and library go hand in hand and are inseparable. Library is the essential link in the development of literacy provided to students in classroom. Library is the collection of books and sources of information made accessible to people for borrowing or interference purpose. The collection of libraries can include books, magazines, newspaper, films, audios, DVDs, maps, manuscripts, e-books, and various other formats. Library is organized and maintained by individual, institution, or public body. Public and institutional libraries provide their collection of resources and services to people who need material they cannot otherwise have access to. Those who require help for their research can seek the same from the librarians. A personal library is the one owned by an individual with adequate means. Such libraries are created as per the knowledge and interest of the people. Thus, public library is open for all to cater the interest and the taste of all people and contains books on diverse subjects. An institutional library refers to a library that belongs to an institution such as school, college, university, or a club, etc. Such library is open to the members of community and caters to their needs and interests. Libraries play a vital role in imparting knowledge. Libraries help in learning and expansion of knowledge, therefore, it develops the habit of reading and boosts the thirst for more and more knowledge. It adds to what an individual has already learned and leads to his personal growth and development in life. Libraries are especially essential for people who cannot afford costly books and resources for reading and acquiring information. They are the ones who truly understand the value and importance of library. Executive summary, aims and approach. This report presents the finding of a systematic study of the value of the services that libraries in the UK provide to researchers and of the contributions that libraries from a wide range of institutions make to institutional research reforms. The aim was to identify the key characteristics of library provision to support research in successful UK universities and departments. The approach comprised two main elements: quantitative analysis of statics from Scanum, HISA, and the RAI along with the bibliometric data to investigate correlation between the characteristics and behaviors of the libraries in 67 UK institutions and the research performance of those institutions and gathering and analyzing a large tranche of qualitative information from 9 institutions with a range of characteristics. Statistical and qualitative evidence. Our initial hope was that analysis of statistical trends and correlation would provide evidence and suggest avenues to explore in the qualitative phase of the project. The limitations of the available statistics data on library provision and characteristics, however, mean that our statistical analyses have been of limited utility. This report is therefore based on a large weight of qualitative evidence gathered from interviews and focus groups with a range of stakeholders, researchers, PVCs. The Research Support Office graduate deans, and finance directors as well as libraries. Across 9 institutions and carefully analyzed and cross-checked, such evidence is based on the individual perception and experience, but we believe that in the aggregate, the evidence on the value of libraries set out in this document in robust and equivocal. Libraries contribute to the research performance of individuals and institutions in the many different ways, even if the nature and extent of that contribution is not well understood by researchers and senior managers. Our findings are summarized in the form of map which sets out the key characteristics and behaviors of libraries and the links between them and the performance of individual researchers and institutions. Libraries have changed and are changing, developing new roles and services. Our detailed findings are thus presented in the forms of 10 stories, summarized in the map about the different kinds of value that librarians provide in supporting both individual research and the research performance of their host institution. Goal libraries have institutions to recruit and retain top researchers. There is a global competition for top researchers and institution reputation is key to attracting them. Many factors contribute to a good reputation, including league factors, rise scores, research productivity, and funding levels. But the library also contributes positively or negatively to an institution's reputation. The quality, nature, and extent of the library's collections, of its staff, and the services they provide, and of its buildings are all important. Successful and high quality libraries can be a significant factor in recruiting and retaining top researchers. Libraries help researchers win research grants and contracts. Success in winning research grants and contracts is critically important, especially for researchers intensive universities. Research support offices help researchers to generate a regular flow of high quality application for such grants and contracts, but libraries are playing an increasingly significant role too. On the whole, they do so in response to specific requests rather than proactive, however, and in general research are not required to consult the library in generating their bids. Libraries could play a greater role if researchers knew that support was available and if their involvement was more formalized. Libraries have an opportunity to use their skills to help researchers improve the quality of their funding application and to increase the institution's success in winning research income. Libraries promote and exploit new technologies and new models of scholarly communication. Libraries are critically important in helping researchers to exploit the full benefits and opportunities of the networked world, including such developments as open access and social media. But libraries are not always well equipped to promote change, and researchers sometimes resist efforts to modify their behaviors and practices. Nevertheless, many libraries have succeeded in addressing such programs by establishing stronger links with researchers and refocusing their services to promote and exploit new technologies and new models of scholarly communication. Responsible increase the visibility of the institution and raise in its research profile. Most institutions now have a repository to store the make available institution assets such as research papers and these. In most cases, the library runs the repository on behalf of the institution and senior institution managers acknowledge the role of repository plays in increasing the visibility of the institution outputs and raising its research profile. Outward facing libraries contribute to institute-wide initiative. In recent years, many libraries have demonstrated that they can seize opportunities to help institutions respond to changes in the research environment. Libraries' central and impartial position, together with their information and organization expertise, puts them in a good position to play a wide institution role and deliver new value. Seizing these opportunities is not always straightforward since in some institutions libraries have to overcome traditional views about their appropriate role. But outward facing libraries can help in joining up research support and administration, leading to better research management and a higher profile for the library across the institution. Specialist staff work in partnership with academic departments. Information specialists, both subject specialists and those with a specific focus on the needs of researchers, form a significant group of library staff in most institutions. The researchers who make use of their see the vital role. But too often information specialists and researchers are not well connected. Putting that right can alter specialist roles profoundly, shifting them away from more traditional collection management roles. Where this change has taken place, information specialists take a more proactive role in working a partnership with academic departments and acting as consultants. Such developments have been welcomed by heads of departments and researchers. Connecting with researchers enhances the value of the library services. The digital revolution has changed the relationship between libraries and researchers, many of whom do not use the physical library. As one librarian said, the more we do not do the make access quick, seamless and easy, the more invisible we make ourselves. Libraries are becoming alert to their separation from researcher and are trying to find ways to reconnect with them and to fill the gaps in their knowledge and the understanding of researchers' needs. Such an approach can lead to a strong service culture, permitting the library increasing researcher satisfaction, as well as winning recognition and respect for the library across the institution. Dedicated spaces provide a better work environment for researchers. For some researchers, the physical library is valued as a place to work and study, particularly if they do not have their own department space or if they rely for their research or printed on manuscript content held in the library. Many researchers find, however, that the library is crowded with undergraduates, especially in term time, and that it provides a difficult environment in which to work. In order to meet researchers' needs, some libraries have therefore created dedicated areas for them, providing a better environment for those researchers who depend on the library and its content. Easy access to high quality content is a key foundation for good research. Access to high quality content remains crucial to research and its value is recognized by researchers, senior managers and librarians alike. Libraries spend huge amounts to sustain and develop their collection, and researchers across the sector now have access to more content than ever before. But they always want more. The downward pressure on institution budget continuing increasing in prescription cost at above inflation level and inflation in exchange rates are making it more difficult to sustain the current level of purchasing. Some libraries are still seeking to increase the content budget, but others are reducing the amounts of content they buy, while they are yet others are seeking to be smarter by procuring more with less, daring to be difficult or different, and taking a more evidence-based strategic approach to content procurement should help libraries to meet researcher need more effectively, as well as helping their dialogue with the senior managers from whom they seek funding. Libraries are a physical manifestation of the values of the academy and the scholarship. Libraries are one of the most enduring features of the academy, central to the values and the practice of scholarship. But in a period of austerity, they are increasingly being asked to justify their existence. Perhaps the deepest yet most inclusive contribution that libraries make is to provide a physical manifestation of the scholarly ethos that university exists to inculcate and preserve. There is a risk that this intrinsic value may not be recognized by future generations of researchers who work in an online world. In building the evidence as to libraries' contribution to research, it is important to stress that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts and that the value of the library is a crucial cornerstone and a representation of the values of the academy and of scholarship. Continuing change and risk the need for an evidence base. Libraries are changing and the value they provide will change too. This project has provided a snapshot of libraries based on current evidence as the HE sector begins a period of turbulent change. The need of demonstrate the value will endure and should not be underestimated. Arguing the case for libraries may get harder as the traditional role of libraries in providing access to content, the role most frequently mentioned and valued by researchers and senior managers, continues to become less visible. We frequently spoke to senior researchers and managers whose experience of research began before the digital revolution and who tend to see the value of libraries residing in their traditional role as a content providers. Such perceptions may come under the increasing scrutiny as budget pressures mount and as current senior managers are replaced by those whose experience is of a different world with a different set of assumptions. A big challenge for libraries, therefore, is to communicate to both researchers and senior researchers and managers whose experience of research began for the digital revolution and who tend to see the values of libraries residing in their traditional role as a content providers. Such perceptions may come under the increasing scrutiny as budget pressure mount and to current senior managers are replaced by those whose experiences is of a different world with a different set of assumptions. A big challenge for the libraries, therefore, is to communicate to both researchers and senior managers how they are changing and the opportunities for the future. Should traditional perceptions persist, there is the danger that the development of new roles and services will be put at risk. But in so doing, it is important to stress that libraries must be judged beyond the immediate needs they serve, and that the value of any library is interactively linked to the values of university. We hope that this report provides a framework for demonstrating the contribution libraries can also do make currently to the performance of researchers, research teams and institutions. But further work for the future will require better statistic evidence on library characteristics and activities. That in turn will require working with SNOR and if the member or finding other ways to gather statistics on how libraries support research, including, for example, training in information skills support for individual research project and the development of institutional repository. If possible, the statistics should provide breakdowns of the provision focused on the needs of specific departments or cost centers. Gathering data of this kind need not be formalized to the same extent as the collection of the return of scholarship. Periodic high-weight surveys may suffice in the order to get evidence to test particular hypotheses or investigate specific areas of provision. This report presents the findings of systematic study of the value of the services that academic libraries in the UK provide to researchers and the contribution that they make to institutional research performance. Investigate across a range of university and departments with different records of success in research and nature, and extent of provision library services of researcher including such characteristics, the volume and range of content provided, the nature, range and extent of services provided by subject-specific authors. The approach comprised two main elements, quantitative and analysis of statistics to investigate correlation between the characteristics behavior of the libraries in the UK. This scope covers academic libraries in UK institution, not just Rush institution. It thus covers libraries which differ significantly in the range of function they fulfill and services they provide as well as the place they occupy in broader institutional structure. In this project, we have considered value as the indirect and direct benefits of the libraries, actual and perceived. Overview with this report, we can say terminology, a range of terms is used across the sector to describe similar concepts and practices relating to library services. In the interest of clarity, we have tried to consistent and our terminology. We use the following terms. Research support offices refers to institutional support functions in the areas of research, grant research, degrees and research quality assessment. Research material covers all content and collection in any format used for conducting research. Information specialist refers to librarians in a liaison role who have special subjects expertise and to specific focus on researchers and their needs. The network world has a profound impact on the research and communication practice over the past decade, and the practices continues to change. The last decade have also seen sharp growth in levels of research activity and an associated growth of the interest in monitoring and assessing research performance. ABP research noted that in the past academy has been allowed to get on with what they are interested in, but that institutions now need to be more strategic about what they are focused on research. Library and research statistics that expenditure on information provision while increasing in real terms for all groups has remained relatively steady as a proportion of library expenditure. Remote access to digital content means that researchers do not know what libraries do for them. Libraries support the role in hidden behind the scene. This may become an increasingly important issue for libraries as a new generation of senior academic becomes responsible for decision making. At present, many senior academics' formative experiences were a physical library, though often have a gut feeling that libraries are worthwhile for research, or a strong view that the institution need to protect the library budget and that require little persuasion about the need to support library. As these decision makers are replaced by those who experience is of an online digital world. However, there may well be different set of starting assumptions. Thus, at present, while there are usually rigorous annual reporting requirements related to libraries' contribution to the students' experience, there is a less focus on their managers, including finance directors, the main focus of concern in relation to libraries ensuring that they can sustain or improve their current levels of content, falling budgets overall. As universities took to enhance their systems for monitoring and assessing research performance, however, libraries are likely to face greater demands of evidence as to how and how effectively they support research. Building the evidence base on all aspects of library activities, not just content provision, is therefore critical. One finance director noted that the senior managers are not always aware of the nature and extent of libraries' roles in supporting research since the evidence is not being put forward. The following sections will help libraries to the remedy and deficiencies. Libraries provide some services direct to the researcher. Libraries provide some services to researcher and support also. Overall, the map of value on the following pages can be given. At last, I would like to thank all of you to giving me opportunity to conduct the in-house training on this topic, and you are listening patiently. Thank you all.